Hello everyone, I welcome you all to EduTap, and in this success story series today we have Mr. Shivam Gupta with us. He has recently cleared RBI Grade B examination of the year 2022 itself, and today in this session we are going to understand all the strategies and the sources he followed for the examination and what are the do's and don'ts that he have realized during the preparation. So, sir, welcome on our platform, and thank you so much for agreeing to share your experience with us.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, sir, let's start with the education qualification. So, what have you done, and when did you finally decide that you want to join RBI and you started preparing for that?
Yeah, so actually I'm a computer science engineer. I've done my BTech from Triple IT Sri City. And so it was, in like late December or January this year, I started my preparation for this examination. Though it was a bit late, I started, wanted to start before, but it is a natural tendency that we don't do things, until it's time. So
True.
don't recommend, I know I recommend aspirants to start it now, but yeah, for me it started a bit late, but yeah, I was able to catch up.
Right. So, so was this your first attempt?
Yeah, this was my first.
All right. So, sir, as this is your first attempt, so you would be in better position to share the sources because that have worked for you, the sources whatever that you have preferred. So sir, we'll start with phase 1, and for that we have quant, reasoning, English, and then general awareness. These constitute the subjects for phase 1. In that we have to clear the minimum cutoff as well, and there is a overall cutoff that is also to be cleared. So as you have an engineering background, so quant reasoning may not be that tough for you, but I think that still need a brush up. If you're preparing for examination, some topics need to be done, there's a proper revision that needs to be done. So what was your plan for that?
Yeah, ma'am. Like you said, ma'am, I'm an engineer. So for me, quantitative aptitude and reasoning was not that tough. But I want to give this a disclaimer that RBI examination has become very tough now. So
Right.
despite I'm an engineer, for me it was a tough one. I got only 7 marks in quantitative aptitude this year because the paper was tough. So I won't recommend any engineers out there to go this. That we are engineers and we have good mathematics, so we'll do it. You won't be able to, because and there are many people who are not able to clear because they don't clear some sectional cutoff in some Q or R. So
True.
for QRE, I would say do reverse engineering. As it's a qualifying examination, we don't need to score maximum marks. We don't need to score above 100 or 150 at maximum marks. We just need to score the cutoff. So for that, you need to analyze the previous examinations firstly, then make a list of topics in quantitative aptitude and reasoning, which in which you are comfortable, and secondly, which you require to clear the cutoffs. So after you make those lists, prepare them from any sources. There are good teachers on YouTube also, and the coaching also provide them. So you can prepare those topics, and then finally give the mocks. Because when will you give the mocks, you will able to analyze where you are lagging. And then you need to
True.
optimize your strategy according to it. So like for example, suppose there's a mock you gave and there's a cutoff, they decide to be 85 and you're getting 60. So you need to see why you are getting that. Then prepare some topics, where you were not able to perform the examination because it's a 25-minute examination for quantitative, for example. So you need to make sure that what questions you need to do in those 25 minutes so that you can get these much of marks. It's not about knowing everything. You can know the syllabus, but you need to do it in that time also, and in the
True.
pressure of the examination also. So you need to prepare it according to marks, I would say, and
True.
prepare specific topics, prepare them, and then give the mocks, and then optimize your strategy seeing the results. That is the best strategy that works for you and r. For English also, like, only mocks are enough. You don't need to prepare anything new. And it, that is the best part, because the English is the low hanging fruit, I would say, because it's easy also, and people get 20, 25, 30 marks in English, so you need to score that. And GA is like the most important part of the whole examination. Say it phase 1, phase 2 interview, GA is everywhere. You
Right.
need to prepare at least 6 to 8 months GA before the examination. You can follow any of the compilations provided by coaching institutes. So, and also, like, one important point here is that try to cover them daily. Try to, because if you cover them daily, it will be hardly 10 pages. But
True.
if you cover it, like after the month ends, it will be 300 pages, and then it become very, very tough. So if you
True.
prepare it daily, you will be able to do it firstly, and secondly, you will be able to revise it also. Like, it becomes easy, naturally easy. But if it 300 pages, psychologically you will feel you will not be able to do it. And there are
Yes.
people who start 2 3 months before, and then they say we will cover 6 months, and they're then they are nowhere.
Right, true. Because that becomes very overwhelming for the mind also to retain so much thing.
Yeah,
So, sir,
exactly.
we talk about the data in RBI. This time we have observed a lot of data has been asked, and this is kind of a trend in RBI also. So, did you kept on revising, or what? How did you do? You just kept on reading every day, and it became in the habit of remembering things, or
Yeah,
you suggest that attempt mocks also, because that would also test how much preparation you have done.
let me start. So like when I started, in January, February, it was very hard for me to start it. Starting, I was not able to read even 10 pages. But with after 1 week, 2 week, I was naturally able to absorb it. And like you can prepare, but yes, try to give the mocks. So because when you give the mocks, you are able to, like you are able to see, I did this question wrong. So then you are able to recall, and then you are able to remember it very thoroughly. So like
True.
they're good quality mocks. EduTap also gives, in the I took the crash course of EduTap, so in there they had for weekly questions of for GA. So yeah, it was very helpful. So if you give the mocks for GA also, you are able to see, we learn from mistakes more than we learn from our experience. So when we do a mistake in a question, we are able to remember that question like from forever. So yeah,
That's truly said. That when you're committing a mistake, then you would remember that what was
yeah,
the result that time,
yeah,
and then you prepare accordingly. So that's rightly said during for phase one. And I see most of people, most candidates, they go through mock. And also one thing that is what some of them say, that go through the marathon series as well that are being
yeah.
conducted. Do you feel that uh, investing these 2-3 hours daily on YouTube channels of watching marathon, is it fruitful? Or if you are wholly prepared, then you need not to go through those marathon series.
Like there's nothing to lose, if you attend marathon session. It gives you a brush up. You know it, you're confident, you are good, fine. But if you attend it, you will get a brush up. There's nothing to
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah, that's true, because that would add on to the preparation only.
Yeah,
Right. So, so that we have talked about phase one, and this is truly said because quant reasoning English is something where a defined syllabus is a kind of defined syllabus is there in all the examinations. Such kind of questions are asked, so it's better to do mock test. That would give you an idea what kind of questions are asked, and you are better prepared for the examination.
yeah.
But sir, if we talk about phase two, so although we have a syllabus, but that constitute both static as well as current portion, and that too is descriptive. Part of it has now become descriptive in nature. So in quant, it is like either we know the answer, we don't know the answer, and that's only one marker if we talk about objective. But in subjective, we have to follow the word limit, and it might happen that we know the topic, but writing 400 words, 600 words, that could be difficult. So for answer writing, and as you have a BTech background, so it's not specifically of descriptive nature that we have in BTech. So how did you managed for that? First of all, I would like to know how you prepared for descriptive writing, and secondly, how you decided between phase one and phase two that what topics you need to revise for the phase two point of view.
See, like before phase one, I had prepared for phase two. So after phase one, I only had to do the descriptive and also revise for the the MCQs. So for descriptive, I believe descriptive is something which you build over time. Like you cannot learn descriptive writing in a day or two. You might think you are good in descriptive, but you are not, because like there are people who write good answers and they get brownie points for it, and you don't, so you lag there. So you need to start it early. So start writing some questions weekly. For example, suppose for the students who are starting preparation now, so you need to start your descriptive now, because it's like two-thirds of the examination of phase two, so you cannot take it lightly. Like there is no way, like no big no, I would say. So you need to start descriptive now. So like try to learn how people write answers. So for me, like I used to go to on Google and search for answer sheets of UPSC aspirants. Then I to see how they start their answers, how they end their answers, how they structure their answers, and then I learned from them. So like learning, like writing is an art, I would say. So you can learn it. For for the static part, so you can follow any coaching material. So like I won't say you should mug up, but you should try to understand it. Like for me, it was very interesting to know all these things. Like like I never used to trade, or I never used to participate in financial markets. But after reading all this, I got so much interested in all this. So it was a good learning for me. So that was I was able to cover all those the syllabus. also as I was working also, but I was able to cover the syllabus because I was interested in all these things. So for static, I would say, try to cover all of them. Use your own hard work. Use internet a lot to, get all the topics. You can also use the coaching material for the help, but you should prepare for descriptive. Start now. So after phase two, what I did was, like you said, how I selected the topics. So, like I believe RBI, asks questions more from the current topics which are in news. So for example, currently if you see a recession, inflation, then
Right.
financial inclusion, and you can prepare a list according to your own understanding, what could be the important. So what I used to do, I used to have a paper. So I used to have a A4 size paper. I used to divide it to 8 parts. So for example, in the first part, I used to write a definition. So for example, financial inclusion.
Hmm.
A normal person will write financial inclusion, ensuring people get credit and all these things.
Yes.
But if you want to write a good answer, so according to Rangarajan Committee 2008, there's a definition given. So
True.
if you want to write for MSME, so MSMEs are small and medium industries and this. But
Hmm.
according to MSME Act of 2005, MSME is defined as something. So you can write that definition. If you write a definition in the examination, you are going to get good marks because it's a
Hmm.
standard definition. For example, a bank. So you can write a bank is a place where people deposit money and they get interest. But
Hmm.
according to Section 5 of BR Act, bank is defined as something. So if you
That is
write
true.
this, standard answer. Secondly, I used to write what are the advantages, then the disadvantages, then the government schemes, then what RBI is doing, what I can do, what
Hmm.
better can be done, and finally a conclusion. So I like this. I used to prepare for many topics. So I had these
True.
sheets with me to had a fodder material
So,
because in
so
the
hmm.
examination you don't have that much time to think. Like you have to write about 2,000 words in 90 minutes. So you
True.
don't have that much time to think on the spot and then make all these things. So if you have all this fodder material, you are able to write answers better.
Right. So, as you said that you have prepared some definitions to stand out your answer from the rest of the aspirants. So,
Yeah,
is it all the definition that you are that you are saying, are they part of the static study material that
it
is
is.
provided
It
by
is,
the
yes.
any coaching institution,
Yeah.
or did you use to search on internet
You see,
or
it is also
randomly?
part of, but the thing is that when we write the answers, we don't remember.
True.
We are not able to. See, you got a question on final inclusion. You will start directly writing. You won't think, there's a definition also.
Hmm.
But if you write like this, you are able to remember it. So it's like a special preparation, add-on preparation from the script.
True. That's extra effort that you have to make.
See, everybody knows all the topics if you are giving phase two. But it's,
Hmm.
how you write it that makes a difference. And this type of exercises help you write better.
Right. So, sir, did you used to how many times did you practiced? Did you used to practice daily or weekly? As you said before, that weekly an aspirant, a beginner aspirant can start writing a answer. So, were you
Yeah,
practicing daily
yeah,
only?
for beginners, I would say weekly. So actually, I was working, so I didn't had time after phase one also to do it daily. So I used to give mock tests, by EduTap. So the good thing is they also evaluate it. You guys
Yeah.
also evaluate it. So
Yes.
like
Yes.
nobody else do it. I believe that's a good thing. So like
Right.
I used to give that most mock tests, and then I used to improve on it.
On whatever feedback that has been provided.
Yeah.
Right.
One
So,
feedback that I got was like I don't write conclusion very good. So I used to just do an open end, just write it, just write the body and leave it. So then
okay.
yeah, I built like I realized that, and then I improved on it.
Okay, yeah. So that's important to have an evaluation
Yes,
to
very
get to
important, I
know
would say.
that because we feel sometimes we feel like we are doing good, but if somebody having expertise on it, if they are giving you a feedback that this can be improved, that can be improved, that is that definitely helps. So that's really good. Here one more thing that you just said, and I want to ask about that you're working. So working and preparing for examination, how does it go? How did you manage?
See, like what I want to say, just for regulatory examinations, you don't need to leave your job because like syllabus not that vast. Because
Hmm.
if you go over internet, you will find many UPSC stories also where people were working. In front of that, like RBI is nothing. Like you just need hardly 4 or 5 months of serious preparation, hardly 2 3 hours a day, and 6 to 8 hours on a weekend to prepare for it. And you like you don't you should not take I want to leave my job because I want to prepare for RBI. You never took a job, you prepared for UPSC, that's a different case. But if you are a working aspirant, you think that I'll attempt the examination after leaving my job, it's not required. Like you are lying to yourself. You need to prepare, you need to have do some hard work and don't make excuses, I would say. So
True.
like you don't need to leave your job.
That's really true because if somebody wants to be in RBI, he would prepare anyway, even he's working or
Yeah.
not. And if some aspirant is maybe not serious about giving the examination, even if they have full day to themselves, they would not better utilize that. That's very rightly said. And now, sir, if we talk about the English paper, however, the English component is something which usually most aspirant they do not prepare. But when we talk about descriptive writing, descriptive, by that I mean
English.
about the essay we are talking about and
Mhm.
the précis we have. So for that, are there certain kind of topics that needs to be prepared? For example, in ESI and FM, we have a defined syllabus, and we know that okay, from this only the questions can come. But for English, if we say for essay, what kind of topics are given by RBI? Is there some specific, or are they just random, whatever national issues that are going on?
I had this misconception that there is a defined syllabus for English also. But this year, the question was philosophical. I
Okay,
don't remember them, but the questions were philosophical. They were no, not direct at all. And also they increased the word limit to 600. So I was in
600.
shock for 5 minutes, when I started the examination. I was like, I had to enumerate, which not to write and finally decide, okay, this I can write. So it was, that tough. So you need to be ready for the surprises in examination. And there's no defined syllabus, like, they can ask you anything. Before, I would say 3 4 years back, there used to be very simple essays, but now the RBI has leveled up the
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 competition level.
difficulty of the examination.
Hmm.
And
So,
like, people take it very lightly. We can write the essay, we can write the précis. People are not able to write the précis. Like précis, basically précis, I would like to say it requires special preparation. Like, you need to small the like the paragraph given and write it, and it requires special skills. You need to prepare at least 5 6 précis before face if you want to write it on the examination day, because like it constitutes a majority part of English, and also like people miss on it. People say we will learn FM and ESI and we are able to do, but they are like they miss there, and when you miss, then you repent. So like don't do that mistake. At least
right,
like monthly, do like 3 4 essays, write some 3 4 essays and do at least a essay a month, if for
right.
the student that are preparing now.
Right. So as this was your first attempt, and there are a lot of aspirants who usually they take 3 attempts, 2 attempts, 5 attempts to get through it. So when you get phase two result, and because again, descriptive is something I think most of the aspirant they dread it. So, but and it becomes very uncertain that would you able to clear phase two or not, because that is something you cannot really check from any source. So
Yeah,
when the result for phase two was out, what was your reaction?
I was shocked. I was literally shocked because like I did decent in MCQs, but I was like everybody did everything in descriptive, so I don't know. Like, it could be in, it could be out. It's not in my hands.
Right. So then you had to start preparing for interview. So
Yeah.
how did it go? What were the sources you preferred, and what things you kept in mind while you were grooming yourself for the interview?
Yeah, firstly, the most important part for interview is your biodata, so that you fill. So because that biodata is which is in front of the examiners, so the panel, so they will ask startly like they will ask naturally questions from your biodata. So firstly, have a good profile. A good profile, I mean, prepare the profile that you write. Don't fake anything over there. If you don't have it, don't try to fake. It's totally okay to not have many things in the profile. Everybody is a different person, and they respect diversity. So there's nothing like you have gap years, you don't have a hobby, you don't have this, you don't have that. You don't need to worry. Whatever you write it. If you have time, you know have a hobby, have some extracurricular if you can. But if you don't have it, no need to stress out. You need to thoroughly prepare. So for me, like for example, I'm a data engineer, so my whole interview revolved around this thing only. Data, cloud computing, RBI's role in it. Now recently data localization is in news, right? RBI banned, Amex and MasterCard and all those things. So my whole interview revolved around data and data engineering and ML and all these things. So your interview will be based on your profile only. Uh, and also prepare some current topics. So for example, this year inflation, recession, then Russia-Ukraine war, then debt trade, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, all this, you are expected to be there, like prepared on these points, because they will ask questions. They may ask questions. I will not say they will surely, but they may. So you are expected to be thorough with all these current developments, and also all the developments in the field of finance, what RBI is doing, recent notifications, recent speeches. This pretty much sums up everything you need to prepare.
Right. So, were there any question which you were not able to answer, or
Yeah, like for 3 4 questions I remember I said no,
okay.
like because I
So
don't want to be underconfident when answering, or if I don't know much, because like if you say a wrong thing, if you say a lie there, you are like, you're done. So
right,
if you don't know it, it's better to say it.
right. Usually, aspirants they just blabber anything, or they get
Yeah, yeah.
anxious about it. That what if they don't know the answer? The panel might think that they're not suitable, but it's not like that, right?
Like let me give you an example. So they asked me, how you will judge the health of a bank. So I told them many points. So in one point, I told them net interest margin. So the panel asked me, to explain more. So I gave them a theoretical definition of NIM. So, but they wanted, to have something more. So I simply said that, sir, I have not worked in banking sector, so I have only know this theoretical definition. So the panel explained me about it, in the
Okay,
interview. So, you don't need to know everything. You just need to be honest about yourself, and you should portray yourself as you're eager to learn, because they are anyway going to train you. So this you don't need to know everything. That's the case. So if you don't know everything, be honest.
right. And so, were there any personal questions that are also asked, or
uh,
were asked to you?
Personal means,
Personal means like HR questions or something about
yeah,
your
yeah.
hobbies and maybe about your place where you live and other such like
Yes,
these
definitely.
questions.
Like, I'm from Haridwar, so they were interested about Haridwar versus Hardwar, and
Okay.
religious places around here. Yeah, they asked me. Then they also asked me, that I'm so young, so why I want to join RBI,
Hmm.
and I don't have a background in finance also. So how will be fruitful for RBI? All those things.
True. So, like these kind of questions are asked. If you are a working aspirant, here's a key takeaway for especially for the ones who are working right now, that they might ask that how your current background or even your academic background that is going to add on to the RBI. So, this is a kind of question that aspirants they need to be ready for it. Right. So, here's one thing
And
that
also, like, one more point I want to add. So for computer science engineers out there, like, RBI want you to be in RBI. So don't feel, don't have finance, because currently the finance word has, going a penetration into technology. So
true.
if you are computer science engineers, the board is going to, entertain you. So, like, it's a big plus point, I would say, for all the CS engineers out
Right, that's really true. We're talking about financial inclusion. Digitalization is now
there. Yeah.
one of the key factor of India's, if we talk about India's growth. So of course, CS and all this is going to help in that. Everything is online now. So yes, so that was overall discussion that we had with Mr. Shivam Gupta. So for phase 1 he says focus on the mock test a lot. Okay, it will help you to retain things, it will help you to get about new things, it will help you to understand the topics and the way they are asked in examination. And for phase 2 he says you you are maybe mistaken if you think that you know how to write a descriptive answer, because if you are given a particular topic, you may, when you start writing, you can write 50 words, 100 words, but when you have to compete for 400, 600 words, for that you need a practice. And he also says that do not forget the English paper, and keep on focusing on ESI and FM, because that can be a hindrance to clear the phase 2. And he says prestige is something that is important. Most aspirants they skip it, and that is a mistake that you should not follow. And for interview he says just be true to your bio data, do not write fake things which you cannot really justify in the examination during the interview. And whatever is your background, you need not to worry, just whatever answers that they are asking you or they want you to say. If you know the answer you can say it, if you don't know you can just be honest about it, don't you need not to fake it. So sir, is there something that I've missed, or that was the gist of what we have discussed?
No, that's pretty much. And just a last point I want to add, be ready for the surprises. Like,
Yeah, true.
don't just go with the notion, I need to score this much marks from this much section and this and all that. Anything could happen over there. You should, they will test your emotional intelligence over there. So you need to be ready for it. So, and also the exam is very tiring. So, be ready for it. So, don't just go the time, I'm God or I'll do everything. You need to be
True.
ready for all the, variations all in the difficulty and the situation in which you're giving the examination. And, just be true to your preparation. Just do honest preparation. Just, give your 100%, because there's nothing, like, because if you repent, after the examination, that I could have done this more, I could have read the G, I could have prepared for government schemes, but there's nothing, to repent after this
Afterwards.
the boat is sailing. So it's better to prepare, give you 100%. After that, whatever happens. No examination is bigger than your life. No, it's bigger than your career. So prepare thoroughly, be confident in the examination, and give your best. That's the most important.
So that's really said to all the aspirants who are watching this right now. And it's really inspiring for the ones who would be giving examination for the very first time. Because some of them are scared that they're preparing for the first time and they have to compete with the ones who are preparing for so many years and maybe from the UPSC background and everything. But you are truly an inspiration for them that it can happen at a one go. But as you said, you have to be true to your preparation. You cannot just fake it. You have to work hard for that. So thank you so much, sir, for joining with us and sharing your views. And we wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you.